Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're finally going to be going over that weekly forecast. It's kind of like a special 5-day weekly forecast edition. We're going to be talking about the 14th of April through the 19th of April. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you prefer the mountains or do you prefer the beach? Let me know in the comments down below and give me a reason why, and I'll be picking one of the best comments for tomorrow's video. Let's get right into this video, though, and we're going to start talking about last week's temperature forecast. This is what we were showing. Colder than normal conditions up there for Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, a bit of Minnesota as well. And then we could see down there for the southwestern United States, it was the same story. California, Nevada, Arizona, all looking below average. We were expecting slightly above normal temperatures, at least for the Rockies and some of the western United States as well, but especially in the southeastern and I guess the eastern United States as a whole, we were also expecting warmer than normal conditions. Now here is what actually happened, and you can tell that the forecast did really nicely. I'm actually very happy with the way this one did, but let me know 1 out of 10 how good you think it did in the comments down below. We love hearing the feedback and getting, reviews on how the accuracy is. So let us know 1 out of 10 down below in the comments how well that one did in your opinion. Now, we're about to move on. We're going to start talking about that precipitation forecast for this week, and then we will move on after that and get into our temperature forecast for this week. Now, first things first, we're talking about an above average precipitation region down there for South Georgia, southeastern Alabama as well. And then northern Florida, we're expecting a slightly above normal precipitation at least. And then get ready for it. Here's our below average precipitation region. And as you can see, it takes up pretty much the entire United States with the exception of the southeast and then a bit of the Rockies as well. But we're expecting a lot of drier than normal conditions for most of the United States here, as you can tell, which is very interesting. And this is taking up a very large area of the United States here. We had a lot of action down in the south this previous week and earlier this week, but now we're going to really quiet down, I guess, until at least the end of this week, heading into the beginning of next week. We can see that from Montana down through Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and northern Arizona, we're all expecting to be kind of closer to normal. And then for Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, we're expecting to be closer to normal with the exception of northern Florida, southern Georgia. Once again, like I said, that's an area where we expect to be a little bit closer to above normal precipitation, but that's the only area there where we're expecting those sorts of conditions. Now we're about to move on. We're going to start talking about different regions where we're expecting some moderately below average precipitation. We have 3 of those actually to go over in just a second. Now here's our first area with moderately below average precipitation: Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, and then all of Michigan there as well as Wisconsin up there. We're all expecting to have some moderately below average precipitation. It's going to be quite dry up there, with the exception of maybe some snow on the way. We'll talk about that in the special note segment of the video at the very end. That's going to be very exciting to go over. Very unique situation looking to take place actually later on this week potentially. Now let's get into a second area with some moderately below average precipitation. We can see California, Nevada, Oregon, and Washington all expecting to have some moderately below average precipitation. The Pacific Northwest has been having some drier than normal weeks. I think this year, later in the year, we're going to start to see a lot more above average precipitation because we are going into a La Nina, so I'm expecting a very active winter once again for the Northwest. Areas like that where we're going to have a lot of precipitation moving onshore. So this drier than normal conditions, we're going to have that for now. But really, as we move forward, we're going to start to see them move into more of the above average column on average, as well as for the Midwest and Great Lakes. I expect a lot of activity there this winter. That's my early thoughts. So you guys get a little bit of a sneak peek of what I'm thinking so far. I'm thinking Great Lakes, Midwest, Ohio Valley going to have a big winter, as well as the Northwest. All right, now let's talk about that third and last region of moderately below average precipitation. And you can see for Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then up through the very far northern regions of Mississippi, in through portions of Tennessee, and then the mountains of Virginia and North Carolina, we are expecting some moderately below average precipitation. Again, this is an area that was very active this previous couple days. We saw the severe weather outbreak there, lots and lots of precipitation, but finally we're going to have a lot of quiet after all that is done, obviously. We're going to have a lot of quiet conditions there, not a lot of precipitation. All right, now we're about to move on, and we're going to start talking about that temperature forecast. We're expecting very, very cold conditions for the eastern United States. We'll talk a lot about that here in our temperature forecast. All right, and to get things started, we actually have an above normal temperature region here for California, Washington, and Oregon. Those areas that we were experiencing some below average precipitation, we're also expecting some slightly above average temperatures there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. This is mostly due to the trough moving a little bit eastward and heading over the central and eastern United States. So you guys are getting some relief from that cold. From what I hear, you guys had a very, very cold winter. So you guys are probably liking that it's actually getting a little bit warm here for your guys' springtime. Now let's talk about the southeast now as we move on to Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, an area that we were expecting some above average precipitation. Now we're also expecting some above average temperatures down there as well, as the south tries to hold on to some of that southeast ridge and some of the warmer than normal temperatures down there. Now, let's go ahead and add our first layer with some below average temperatures, and you can see this is very, very extreme. We can see anywhere from the Rockies, some of the Southwest as well, all the way east and through the central United States, and all the way into the northeastern United States as well. Most of the United States, just how most of the United States had below average precipitation expected, we're also expecting below average temperatures for most of the United States. Very, very interesting to see these two very, very large swaths of areas in these anomalies here. Now let's go ahead and add a second layer of below average temperatures, and you can see that for the Rockies and then eastward into a lot of the Great Plains and really the central United States, the Midwest, Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and then up through the interior regions of the Mid-Atlantic and northeastern United States. We're all expecting to have some moderately below average temperatures. This is a very, very large area to have moderately below average temperatures. It's going to be consistently cold pretty much throughout the entire week for these regions. Very, very cold for this time of year. It's going to feel like wintertime for a lot of regions. And again, we are looking at the chance for snow for a lot of these regions as well. So it is going to be a winter-like pattern this week for pretty much all of these regions, because a lot of the southern regions obviously don't expect to have too much wintry weather even in the winter. So it's going to feel a lot more like March or even possibly February. Let's go ahead and add that third area with some below average temperatures here, and you can see for Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, up through Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then even the Ohio Valley, like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York there. We're all expecting very far below normal temperatures here. This is a very large region to have that far of below normal temperatures as well. So a very, very potent cold air Arctic outbreak on the way for a lot of these regions here in the very deep blues on my map here. Now we're about to move on, and we're going to get into that special note segment of the video where I have two special notes to show you guys, and then we'll get into the comment of the day. All right, and for your first special note, and this one should be obvious, we're expecting a big cool down for the Rockies in through portions of the central United States and then even into all of the eastern United States. I don't know why I included the southeast there on this map. That must have been an accident because obviously they're not expecting too big of a cool down. It could be cool at times, but it could be very warm at times. On average, it's going to be above normal temperatures for a lot of the southeast. But really, most of the central United States and most of the eastern United States, especially the northeast, are going to be far below normal. And this is definitely going to be a huge cool down for this time of year here in April. We've been talking about that for maybe a week or so now, about how this big cool down is coming. And sure enough, it's here. And it's here to stay for at least about a week, maybe with some exceptions of some more mild days. But really, it's just going to be overall cold when you look at the week as a whole. Definitely looking at some colder than normal conditions, pretty widespread. Now, for special note number 2, we have snowstorms possible within this turquoise color. This doesn't mean everywhere in here we'll see snow, but pretty much everywhere in here has some chance of seeing snow. We saw some snow for Arizona, Texas, and Oklahoma yesterday through today. So definitely seeing some unusual places for this time of year, seeing some snowfall. I'm definitely seeing the possibility for anywhere in this turquoise color to see some flakes or some snowfall. The huge cool down is going to come in, and then some storm systems are going to come through and really create that possibility for some snowstorms to possibly happen. Those could be minor, could be major, but nevertheless, they will be possible snowstorms. Now, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what is your favorite hobby? And Brian Free123 said, fishing is my favorite hobby. Fishing's so relaxing and so rewarding. And he said that they live near a lake as well where the fishing is really good. And that just sounds awesome. I always wished I had a lake or a river in my backyard so I could fish, but you're very fortunate to have that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.